Well, Faye, thank you so much for doing this evening. So as you know, tonight we're having our digital innovation event here in Sydney, and I'm going to get a chance to talk a little bit about our CIO survey results. And one of the topics that keeps coming up over and over again has to do with talent and also the user experience and the culture and what the fit is and how do you get the right talent to be able to accomplish the goals that we need to accomplish. So maybe you could share a little bit about what your experience is.
Of course. First of all, thank you for having me. Talent is hard, and I like to say it's not as hard as it used to be, but it sometimes feels like it's getting harder. You know, customer experience or UX, whatever in the shape that we call it, is one of those specialized skills you need in the digital space. However, at the core of it, you need to understand that you're solving problems for customers. So the team member or the talent that we get in our organization has to be the right talent that has the right attitude in fixing problems first and not focusing on technology for the sake of technology. They've got to be really curious about not only just their own ideas, but of others, their peers, and more importantly, their customers, and the constant iteration of data to see what's working and what's not working in that user experience, and actually accept when they get it wrong, and really extrapolate it out to all the other parts of the site when they do get it right. It's a tough balance, but you've got to constantly work at improving it.
Sure. So now when you mention about the data and getting it right, is that something that you find that is becoming more and more of a focus as far as the data really helps you tell you what clients are looking for, what the user is looking for?
Look, I think you can't sit at this day and age and say data isn't important. It's very, very important. But what's more important is what you do with it. So when you have so much data points and you focus on 100 things, it's very hard to get anything done. But when you've got 100 data points and you focus on the 5 most critical ones, you get some pretty good experiences out there. So for me, data is what you want it to be based on the questions you ask and what you use it. I think using data to automate a lot of the experiences online, from recommendations to making it really easy for the customer from a personalization point of view, is critical. Because you can have intuition, you can have a bit of gut in there, or you can have a bit of art, but without the science in the digital space, when you've got hundreds of thousands of customers visiting your site daily, you do need to absolutely use data.
Sure. And now with the utilizing of the data, of course, now I say data, you say data.
Yeah. Tomato.
Exactly,
Yes.
Exactly. But with the utilization of the data, I mean, do you find it somewhat challenging or revealing? Because as the data is being compiled and gathered, do you find it that it's kind of giving you some, insight into, wow, I had no idea that this was actually happening. It's completely different than what we thought from a product offering, so to speak.
I think you do, because you sometimes, in our category, for example, you look at the data and you suddenly realize adjacencies that you particularly wouldn't have necessarily put together in the drinks category. And suddenly the data is so clear and transparent. You go, why didn't we think of that? But you also look at the data from a usage or what we call a site view point of view, and what they actually view doesn't necessarily doesn't match up with what they purchase, because aspiration is very different than what you end up doing. I think really monetizing that data in a meaningful way to create experiences for customers where they feel it's personalized becomes that holy grail. Trying to be everything to everyone is impossible.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Hopefully we'll get a chance to expand on this a little bit later when we go to the panel discussion. But again, thank you so much for coming out today.
Pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome.